Boucher here in just a little while, so that'll be great. Of course, looking forward to what she has to say on LSU's fall camp, weighing in on Brian Kelly as well. Some big news for Chessa. We'll talk about that. That's a little bit of a tease. We'll have that too. And then, of course, the Tigers are preparing for that big opener against Clemson. And we know Brian Kelly has done some strange-ish things to prepare for that game.
It's extremely strange. And by the way, he's still looking for his first win in a season opener as the head coach at LSU. This is big for multiple reasons.
Yes, no doubt. Looking forward to that as well. We will have several good guests. Let's take a look at the other folks that we're going to have here on Southeast Sports Plus throughout the day. Of course, our guy, Julian Minenson, he's going to join us from Nashville there. WKRN covers all things Vanderbilt, and he's a transplant from the West Coast, but we had him on last week talking the SEC. That was a lot of fun. High expectations for one tight end there in Nashville as we gear up to talk about the Vanderbilt Commodores and Pavia. What is Diego Pavia going to be in yet another year of college sports?
According to him, national champions.
Well, that's strong. Like I told our guy Julian last week, saying that they are the hunted. That's strong. Anyways, we're going to start today though, however, with Tennessee Volunteers and what is going on in Knoxville. This is a team who we see a lot of teams be Nike teams. You can see right here they're going to have Nike on their uniforms for their practice uniforms. However, they are going to roll with Adidas.
Kind of going back to like an ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend. Like they were with Adidas before, and then they were with Nike, and then now they're back with Adidas. And a lot of times schools make these decisions based on a lot of different reasons. Money ultimately being the number one thing as well. But they have obviously had a great relationship with Adidas before. Adidas is one of the largest brands in the entire world. Yeah. And maybe they feel like, hey, the Nike umbrella is very, very long, and Adidas can offer us a little bit more. Adidas losing a little bit of their grip in college athletics, and so getting Tennessee is another big thing for their brand as well as the UT brand.
Yeah, and it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different than what we've seen right now because the trend is to go towards Nike. But like you mentioned, money is a big part of it. We have a few teams that are hanging on to Under Armour still, like Notre Dame. However, we just saw Auburn take over a new Nike contract. That just happened. We had a chance to talk to Hugh Freeze about that. He was excited about the swag that they have with the Jordan brand and everything with Nike there at SEC Media Days. Myself, I'm a Nike girl. I don't dislike Adidas, but I like Nike.
Yeah. I think you kind of have to choose brands. I think you choose them when you're young. You choose them when you're a kid. And Nike, I'm not going to bore you with all the details.
We're not rich enough for me to choose a brand. Okay, everything was Champion. Okay, I mean
hey, Russell Athletic here, baby. I understand.
We weren't like sitting there, barely scraping by. But my parents were like, hey. You would get the starter brand. You got Champion. Nowadays, I would love to have some starters and Champion.
Starter and Champion. Champion came back. All it takes is a few people in pop culture to make that brand awesome again. But I was a starter jacket. I was Champion. And then for those people, I'll say Alabama, maybe in some of Georgia, Russell Athletic because of Ben Russell.
Right there,
and Russell Athletic was a huge one as well.
Yeah, no question. And listen, I'm all about like brands now, but at the end of the day, I was the oldest of 5 growing up, and so it's not like we were sitting there just having the best of the best stuff all the time. My parents worked hard. We were middle class folks, but we didn't just have Nike and Jumpman and everything all under the sun. So it was a lot of I think I remember one time I had a starter Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. So you had the original.
One of those
the original starter jacket.
Jackets.
Yes.
Yes.
With the pockets.
But it was Green Bay Packers, dog. I don't give two nothing about the Green Bay Packers. I don't even know why I had that.
With the hoodie on it. Okay, so this is a story that you didn't ask for, and we didn't think that would come. We get here. That's how I became a Patriots fan because my first starter jacket ever was Patriots. But the reason I got it is because our high school was the home of Patriots. No affiliation at all with the actual Patriots.
Yeah, sure.
But then when the Patriots changed their logo, I'm dating myself a little bit. The Patriots changed their logo. Okay. That logo ended up on the starter jacket. Yeah. I got a starter jacket and became a Patriots fan all in one swoop.
So good. Listen, this is all the good stuff here, guys. We're going to have plenty more to come here on the show, Southeast Sports Plus. We're going to take a quick break, and we will join you in just a moment as Chessa Boucher is going to join the show. Several good guests as we go all around the league. We'll be right back. Welcome back in Southeast Sports Plus. Simone Eli, Gerhard Mathangani joining you back from the Southeast Sports Plus studio, guys. And I went to break there a minute ago, but don't want to forget about what else we're going to chat about here. And the Michigan Wolverines, once again, back in hot water. It seems as though this program, since their national championship year a couple years ago, cannot stay out of the headlines when it comes to some negative things.
Yeah, this is a program that, in my opinion, they've kind of clouded a lot of what they've been able to do as far as on the field.
Yep.
I don't know if anybody looks at that national championship in the same light as they did when they won it. They were
I don't know
good.
if they looked at it then, even in the way that other people do.
They were good and big. They were talented, athletic. But the storyline hovering after that championship was Connor Stallions. How much did you know of your opponents going into the game?
Yep.
And it feels a lot to me like, I'm going to use another reference from the past with this same program, the Michigan basketball team with the Fab Five and everything else. I know it wasn't cheating relations, but it was just a dark cloud over a program that should be celebrating a championship, but now might not be.
And I do think that when there's different levels of egregiousness. There's different levels of how how serious cheating can be. We talked yesterday a good bit about our quarterback friend there, John Mateer, in the situation with Oklahoma. And okay, is it serious enough of a betting scandal to sit here and talk about it beyond 5 minutes? Holden Kruzmark, our friend there in Oklahoma City, said, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Then you look at a situation where, are you cheating to truly improve on the field? And in the situation of Michigan and Connor Stallions, I would argue yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sitting here and we are seeing information that is coming out or has already come out. There's been an entire Netflix series on this thing, for the love of the Lord, that says they were actively trying to get information on other teams. And so what will that look like moving forward? I know that we have a tweet here from Pete Thamel and Patrick. What is going on there from Pete Thamel?
Yeah, so we're finally going to get an answer tomorrow on what the NCAA is going to do in regards to the Connor Stallions whole scandal with Michigan.
Yeah.
But honestly,
is there any talk about what the expectation is going to be there?
I would think I'm just going to guess based on the NCAA's history that it's going to be basically a scholarship reduction, maybe a bowl from a ban, maybe one that will probably be appealed by Michigan. So this thing could just hang up in litigation for forever.
Sure.
But I would imagine at the very least scholarship reductions for the program, and then maybe something with the House settlement. I don't know. I don't know how far that
saying
goes.
that I mean, that's a good. I never thought about that. Now that we have the House settlement, which of course, for folks, just to recap that a little bit, the House settlement says that schools can pay teams or pay players $20.5 million. Now that does not mean that the NCAA is giving those schools $20.5 million.
Right.
The NCAA is just capping how much teams are allowed to pay their own players.
Right.
So, will the NCAA come in and say, okay, your $20.5 million is now going to be $15.5 million for the next 5 years? I mean, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
I never thought about it.
Well, that's the new form of being able to punish teams because the NCAA does have now these guardrails.
Yeah.
Well, now that the courts gave you these guardrails, now you can use these guardrails against these programs. But the thing is, and I think this is where we might get pushed into litigation, the $20 million is for an athletic program. It's not for football. Obviously, the most money is going to football, so how do you necessarily delegate that? Are you punishing the rowing team? Are you punishing soccer and tennis?
That's fair. That's a really, really good point.
So,
that's a really, really good point.
So you just don't know how it's all going to shake out. But I won't be a bit surprised to see the NCAA start to use their leverage by using the House settlement as a way to punish programs moving forward.
And I think this is interesting. I had one of our athletic directors in the Southeastern Conference. I had a conversation with him about the House settlement. This was prior to it actually happening. So when it did happen, it was interesting. He had kind of peeled back the curtain as to how much was going to be going to each program. Right? So if $20.5 million was what the number was going to be, and it was, he told me that between 18 and 18.5 million was going to football. 18 was going to football.
Right.
So if people out here think that all these basketball players and stars are making millions of dollars, again, from the school.
Correct. Right.
From the school.
Yes.
Because, of course, this is not done away with collectives.
Yes,
so that's one thing I would offer you about Michigan is that Michigan's got some fans.
Oh,
they've got some money.
Yeah.
They can certainly sit here and say, hey, we want to, they're going to dock $5 million. we'll go pick that up from such and such down the road.
Dave
you know,
Portnoy. He'll give you $5 million.
Honestly, that's why they won a national championship. Yeah,
that already. So.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And so that right there tells you that the system is not perfect at this point. But will the NCAA use that as a tool to punish people? It's certainly interesting. But I thought that $18 million out of $20.5 million, I thought that was pretty high. To be honest, I was very surprised by that number because basketball for SEC programs, again, I'm not going to tell you what program this was, but for SEC programs, this is a program that's had success. And so my thought was that we would see just a little bit more money thrown into basketball because let's just throw just to throw a number out there, let's just say basketball gets $1.5 million. We're talking about $1 million for every other program. Now, what he said was he brought in all of his coaches, he brought in all of his staff members. He said even people who were like training staff, whatever, brought them in and put up a grid of numbers and said, here's how much money your program is bringing to our school, just so everyone knew, so nobody could complain.
Right.
And it was football was of course millions of dollars. Sure. The next closest was men's basketball. I think that was like $7 million. Right. The next sport was men's tennis at a $900,000 loss.
Wow.
That was the next highest revenue generating sport at
everything else was in the red.
Yes.
Every
other school was in the red. Yeah. So from other than football and men's basketball, everything was in the red, and it started with tennis, and then of course it's only going to get steeper from there. And by the way, this school has some programs that have won national championships. So
in other sports,
other sports. So I'm saying, so like you sit here and you go, okay, I mean, $50,000 to me in college, I would have taken that in a heartbeat. I mean,
no question.
Pay me $50,000. That's fine. So like the money is there, and to those college kids, that's a decent amount of money. But it's not like they're all walking around as $1 million softball players.
Right. And because there's such a disparity in what football does and football brings, I think a lot of people will do what you did. Your eyebrows rose right after that number came out, and I can't do the math right now, but it's north of 75-80%. So. But then you realize, you break it down of who the cash cow is, and it's football paying for everything else.
Amen to that. All right, guys, coming up next, we are going to chat with Chessa Boucher. Do we have Chessa coming up here in just a minute here, Patrick? All right, we're going to have her here in just a little while, but plenty more content to come up after the break. Southeast Sports Plus will return after this. Stay with us. Welcome back in Southeast Sports Plus. Simone Eli, Gerhard Mathagani, Patrick Walsh joining you on this Thursday afternoon, guys. And listen, we're only about 2 weeks now away from the start of the college football season, if you can believe that. For us here in Alabama, of course, next week's a busy week because it's the start of the high school football season. So we got to get our minds right for that. Patrick, you'll get it's like baptism by fire when it comes to what it looks like for the Southeastern, that high school football in the Southeastern Conference area as well. So looking forward to that next week, but then we'll actually rip the Band-Aid off and get into the college football season shortly thereafter. And guys, there was a time when before we really had 12 teams in the playoff and that these week 1 games maybe had a different meaning. They held maybe more not only interest but just held a lot of clout when it comes to what could happen in the postseason. If you lose a game, you lose one game, you might not be in the playoffs because there was only 4 teams in the playoffs.
Right.
You might not be in the national championship, BCS national championship. So now we're looking at a system where 12 teams are in. Does that diminish these week 1 games in any capacity? I
don't think so, because I think what it does at the end of the season, the loss is not as big. But to me, the win is huge because the win means if you go in and you win a big game and then that team ends up going on a nice run, and let's just say you lose a game a little bit later on that you might not supposed to lose or whatever.
Sure.
It bolsters the win that you had at the beginning of the year. So the fans of all these teams should do one thing. Root for your team to win that game.
Yeah.
And if you lose that game, root for that team, root for the team you lost to go undefeated.
Yeah,
to win the rest of their games on the schedule.
Yeah.
So it's lost a little bit of its luster because a 3-loss team can get into the playoffs.
Which is crazy because there was a time where not even a 2-loss team was going to be in the conversation about the 4-team playoff.
Right.
You could not even. There was no room for error at all at that point.
Forget this now. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, and I think this is the year where we're going to see that first 3-loss team enter the college football playoff, and I think it's going to be LSU because I mean that schedule, it's brutal.
He's saying that LSU's going to lose 3 games.
And he says they're going to make the playoff. He's saying two things at once.
Patrick came back from being sick and he said, "I'm gonna have a lot of hot takes on this Thursday. I'm gonna have some hot takes."
I also had LSU winning the conference.
You know what? You do.
I'm just hoping for pure chaos.
Listen, when Chessa Boucher gets on the show here in a little while, and by the way, that was me early, not her being late, so I don't want anyone to say anything. That was me thinking she was coming on earlier, but she's gonna be on here in a little bit. We're gonna get her take on if Patrick is a little strong in his prediction there. But what I would offer you about these week 1 games is that the interest is always so fun. When you had several times I had the chance to go cover the Chick-fil-A kickoff game there in Atlanta, and every single year it seemed like Alabama was in it, Auburn was in it once or twice, and man, it was always just a great matchup. That was something that he was so excited for, and I think that people just get excited for the first Saturday of college football, and you don't really think about what it's going to look like 13 weeks from now.
I do love those games, those neutral site games, but Simone, I've loved this pivot to on-campus games.
Oh, no, I agree with that.
With the home and home.
That's what I was about to say.
And so I love the premise of the big game, and you're right, especially in the SEC. When you schedule that game in Mercedes-Benz, you're doing one thing. You're trying to prep your team for December. Like, hey, guys, we need to be ready to be back here for the SEC championship. And to be able to have a game there, I know that was probably Nick Saban's his thought process when he would schedule playing in that college football kickoff classic there in Atlanta. But when these games went to these on-campus sites,
you're right.
To me, it's been unbelievable to watch these matchups. And you have to wait another year to get it at the other site, but still, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And honestly, I go back to, it wasn't week 1 last year, but Texas going into Ann Arbor, that could have easily been, I mean, Michigan was the reigning national champion at the time. That could have easily been one of those, we're going to go to Atlanta. We're going to play in AT&T Stadium over in Arlington. And then it goes to this year, Texas at Ohio State. That could have easily been some crazy game. That could have been the Aflac kickoff game over in Atlanta instead of Syracuse, Tennessee. But I think preserving that part of the game is an integral piece to, I guess, growing the game. I talked last week about, hey, we need more teams in the college football playoff because we need more home college football playoff games. Yeah. And I really think these big matchups early in the year will help that.
Yeah. Well, I think what's going to happen, though, there's going to be a shift. I agree with what you're saying, Patrick, is that being able to maintain just the fandom, the excitement, to be able to have that there on campus matters so much. The only thing that I would say is that if it starts costing people a chance to be in the playoffs, one of 2 things are going to happen. In my opinion, one of 2 things are going to happen. We're either going to see less huge openers like this, or we're going to get rid of conference championship games entirely. It might be the latter, coming a little bit earlier than the first one. Because I think the big games, people like, I mean, for a million reasons, you know, that's huge.
Sure.
To have your teams playing, especially, you know, these non-conference matchups like we're going to see in week 1 there in Columbus at the Shoe. However, I do think that when you talk about the end of the season, you talk about the exhaustion of what these teams are at in these conference championship games, it's costing some folks the chance to be in the playoffs. It's costing injuries. Good Lord, we saw that with Georgia. I mean, your body, especially playing in this conference at that point, is so beat down. Now, we have to wonder, will Greg Sankey, who is not just, you know, the commissioner of the SEC, but kind of one of the pseudo-commissioners of the P4, because everyone listens to what he says. If he says, we're not doing this anymore because it's costing us more than we're gaining from it, I would not be surprised if we see that shift someday.
Honestly, I wouldn't even be opposed to it. I kind of like that. I would much rather have a big marquee game in the regular season and add another big marquee game, especially if the SEC goes to 9 conference games, which I know has been
that's
divvied
not
up.
Going to happen.
I would much rather have it.
That's not going to happen.
I would much rather have that, whether the 9th conference game or have everybody else play a P4 schedule.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay.
But I do think all of this will depend on what the committee does as far as being able to say, hey, we're going to you know, add 2 teams. 16 teams has been kind of bantied about. I don't think we're going to get to 18 teams in the playoffs. But the more teams you get in the playoffs, I think that people think it diminishes the regular season. I just think it gives you more opportunities in the regular season to be able to get more teams in, and like Patrick said, be able to get more of those home on-campus environments.
I don't think it diminishes the regular season, but I do think that it diminishes the postseason when it comes to conference champions.
Right.
I think, well, first of all, I've always thought that those were kind of BS anyway, because quite frankly, if you're talking about the conference champion out there I mean, you have 2 champions. You have the regular season champion, and then so when you get rid of divisions, in my opinion, you have to pick one or the other. But you can't have this person won the regular season, this person went and won. I mean, pick one or the other. You can't have both.
Yeah.
When you had divisions, it was different.
Right.
You won the East, you won the West, then those 2 meet. And you walked away being the East Division champ, but you lost the conference. I mean, Auburn did that, obviously losing the West. Alabama did it, you know, winning both. I mean, that happens. But in my opinion, you can't have both. Basketball's different. Basketball's different because there's
it's
a
a longer
tournament.
regular season.
And there's a tournament.
Yeah.
And everyone is there, you know, in Nashville. You have 16 teams. It's a great time of year. Basketball is just a different type of sport when it comes to, okay, if you have regular season, you have a tournament champion. I've never felt like being the regular season champ and then going and winning. I don't know. It's not really about it. Can't be a thing anymore.
Yeah, that's the reason why Auburn can, you know, basically win, 26 games in the regular season, be the regular season champion. And if they lose in the second round of the SEC tournament, everyone's like, it doesn't really matter. They'll still be a number 1 seed or whatever the case is. Or a team that did not do so well got hot in the end of the year. You can get hot in the tournament. But basketball is a sport, as you said. You can do that in basketball because you can put everybody in one spot.
At the right time? Yeah.
You could play multiple games in 1 week.
Yes.
You can't do that in football. So I do agree with you that the regular season in football, it's got to be that week-to-week thing. And after Arizona State won the Big 12 last year, I'm sorry, I'm over conference games. I'm over conference championship games. I really am. I don't care. I want to see what happens in the regular season, and then let the regular season champion be the number 1 team, and then a team like the SEC can get 3 other teams in that college football playoff bracket.
I completely agree with you. I just think that when you get rid of divisions and you have 16 teams laid out there, you got the 2 at the top, and whoever is at the top again, and then of course you have the tiebreakers and things. But there's a reason you have the tiebreakers.
Sure.
I mean, you have the tiebreakers because that determines
the
order.
Yes. Yeah.
Which determines who won.
Right.
Great. Let's move forward.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to go play it again later. You know. And now there's reasons for it, but if it's going to start costing the SEC money more than it's actually going to benefit them, aka teams are losing their spot in the playoffs, then I think something's got to give.
Yeah.
Probably why Greg Sankey is trying to get 4 guarantees and not just 2 or whatever it is that he wants to have there in the playoffs. But guys, on that note, when it comes to the environments in college sports, Patrick has alluded to it several times. He loves the on-campus. You have too. Yeah. I do too. In a lot of ways, I do like the neutral sites because you get to play in these huge stadiums that are, you know, just massive. You think about Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the Dome there in New Orleans. But there are so many great atmospheres in the SEC. And when I saw that Patrick said this is something we're going to talk about, I was very excited. So Patrick, introduce this one. And I do not want mine pulled up yet, I might add, by the way. Okay. So I'm going to go last because I think I have the best opinion.
Gene, you want to go first?
But I want you to introduce the segment first.
So here we are. We debuted top 5 last week, and it's kind of like our little debate segment. Oh, like here's my top 5. I think we did athletes last week. Athletes in the SEC.
Right.
We did like build your own
build
team.
your own, yeah.
Well, here we have top 5 SEC stadium / atmospheres. And Gerhard, if you want to go first, it's all you.
Well, let me just say, by the way, I found out about this like 30 minutes before the show started, and Gerhard was like, "So you want to just like listen to Patrick and I just like talk about ours, and you can like argue?" It's like, I've been to more stadiums than both of y'all combined in the.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Not combined.
In the Southeastern Conference?
Yeah.
How many have you been to?
0.
And okay,
I've
so
probably been to at least 8, 7 or 8.
Okay, and I've probably been to 12. I mean, I have to go through and look, but I mean, I was on the road every single week for 5 years, so I've been to pretty much all of them, outside of like Missouri. So, anyways, but Patrick has a whole goose egg, so everyone take his opinion as with a little bit of grain of salt. But okay,
watching it through television.
Yes, yeah. But you know what? Sometimes you get a good read for that. So go ahead, G.
All right, so here's my top 5, and I got receipts for most of them. All right, I'm starting off with Jordan-Hare Stadium over in Auburn. 12th largest college football stadium, packs over 88,000. I'm going to get to my defense of that one in just a little bit. Next up, the Swamp, Gatorade, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Florida. It's one of the toughest environments, but God is a large part of that. Because the temperatures over there can get 100-something degrees. They had the inventor of Gatorade. Think about that name, Gatorade. It's to aid the Gators. It was started in Florida to defeat hydration because players are getting dehydrated at the Swamp. Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, number 2. Kyle Field, number 3, largest stadium in the SEC. I think the 4th largest in America. Over 102,000 people can go there. They packed 110 back in 2014. Tiger Stadium, Death Valley. It's good, yes.
That was at that game, by the way.
It's good, yes. But here's my thing. Is it one of the things where at Death Valley, the night stadium environment is almost like a restaurant that has such a great appetizer, such a great side meal, that it almost devalues everything else?
Wow.
Is the night stadium at Tiger Stadium, is the night environment so good that when a game kicks off at 11 or at 2, it's actually so subpar that it really balances everything out there? I think Tiger Stadium to me is so good at night, okay during the day. That's why it ranks 4th. And then William Bryce Stadium, my favorite interest of all time is Virginia Tech. It's Enter Sandman. My second favorite interest of all time relies in the SEC is at Williams-Brice Stadium, and it is Sandstorm. If you want goosebumps all over your body, put in South Carolina entrance for a football game.
Well, I watched it once.
By decibel meter, as far as the stadium loudness goes, 133 decibels for the loudest stadium, the 3rd in America. The 3rd in America. And if you don't believe me about Jordan-Hare Stadium, take a look at what happened at SEC Media Days between the reporter and one Kirby Smart.
What is this? Wait.
Oh, I have defense.
Are you tossing something here?
I have some defense and some.
Is there something that we're tossing to?
Some receipts. Yes.
Okay,
I have some receipts.
Well, while we're getting there, let me just say a couple of things. While we're getting there, Williams-Brice Stadium. One thing about the stadiums you have to have for a stadium to be good.
Yeah.
Is a good football team.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And so all it's been a minute.
We live in the moment here, Simone.
Yeah. Okay.
They were knocking on the door of the college football playoff last year.
All I'm saying is it's been a minute, a long minute prior to then. All right.
It's hot right
now. And the craziest thing about Williams-Brice Stadium, right? So this is home of South Carolina, is this chicken, whatever the Gamecock, okay, that it has. Because if you have been to Williams-Brice Stadium
animal enthusiasts
and
are going to be
have
really upset.
heard this, you know what? They can be as mad as they want to be. If you've heard this thing squawking, it is non-stop how much this thing has this squawking. It is relentless. It's like the Vandy Whistler for baseball. It is like you hope that it's ending, and then something happens and it's back, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot. And so I'm not trying to take away from Williams-Brice Stadium being impressive. I am saying that, one, South Carolina struggled for a long time until recently, like last year, and then two, the chicken.
This is a what have you done for me lately world. And here lately, South Carolina has been awesome.
I like to look at the body of work, and so that's why I feel like my opinion is a little bit.
And
greater.
My thing is, there's a lot of Tigers out there. There's some Eagles out there. I like going against the grain and going chicken.
All right, well, chicken boy, listen. I want you to throw up my picks here, Patrick. Because here's the deal. Just based on what I think we are aligned on one thing. And I listen, Jordan-Hare Stadium is without question the best atmosphere in the Southeastern Conference. If you have been to Jordan-Hare, and now I have seen 2 of the most historic college football games ever played there, which of course came in 2 out of 3 weeks, almost back to back, outside of the 1 week with the Cupcake Week for Auburn that year in 2013 in the prayer in Jordan-Hare against Georgia, followed by 2 weeks later the Kick Six. And so to see that stadium come alive, but what I would offer you is that not even that big of a game. Think about last year against Texas A&M.
Yep.
Auburn, the only thing that they had won in that was a 5th game and a chance at possibly going to a bowl game.
Yeah.
And that stadium was on another level. Think about when Cadillac was the interim
I was going
coach,
to point
bro.
to that game. Yeah,
I mean,
you and I are thinking about the same one.
It was like A&M.
Texas
Okay,
A&M again.
And here's the deal. Sorry, Aggies, because honestly, like, no wonder that Aggies probably have like the Auburn game circled on their calendar, because that's like a couple of years. I mean, was it back to back?
Yeah, it was
back to back, but it was 2 out of 3.
Correct.
And,
yeah,
because
it was the return trip.
Got fired 3 years ago. Yeah. And so 2 out of 3, their return trip, and both in just unbelievable dramatic fashion. Fans losing their minds. And then swag surfing. It takes another level there at Jordan-Hare Stadium.
It certainly does. And I think it's not just necessarily the people, and you mentioned it, the swag surfing, the stadium, the environment is one thing. There is just a certain mystique about that place where it just feels like you're also playing against, forgive me for this, you're playing against the ghost of football past in that stadium. And there's just some weird things that you just can't explain.
I'm just going to tell you right now, who is the most respected person in the Southeastern Conference over the last two decades? The number one, if there is one person, who is it?
The most respected single person?
Yes.
I'd say Nick Saban.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And Nick Saban agrees with us.
Yeah.
So quite frankly, we're right. That's
true.
all I got to say about that is that Nick Saban has said on several accounts, publicly and now as a new ESPN broadcaster, that Auburn is the hardest place to play in the Southeastern Conference. That there is just some voodoo stuff that happens during Jordan-Hare Stadium, and it does. Back to my list, Patrick. Okay, so Tiger Stadium. And Gerhard, what I'm going to say is I don't disagree with you in terms of like the night game versus the light game. So the best, I thought we were talking about the best atmospheres, because the best atmosphere, one of the best, is Tiger Stadium at night. Tiger Stadium in the day, especially when they're not very good, is really just another stadium, so to speak. However, I mean, there was a running time there for a minute where LSU was getting more night games than anybody. They were getting to wear white at home, but out of like just some random rule that like they got to get away with in Baton Rouge. And so, quite frankly, the cards were stacked against everybody else because LSU was getting preferential treatment for these night games. Yeah,
and they knew that it was a good TV product. So that might be something that's going on in the executive suites over there in the SEC and in their television partners at the time, understanding, hey, this would be a big ticket item to have this team play at night. This element, this stadium just pops. And so, no, you're right. They did give them an advantage, understanding just how much of a difference it made playing there at 7 p.m. as opposed to 2 p.m.
Back in 2013, I had the chance to go to Kyle Field for the first time. I'll never forget it. I walked up, and it was massive. That's why I have third on the list. And it was absolutely insane to walk up to this stadium and say, like, wow. I mean, A&M is its own, it's just different. But the thing is, the reason I don't hate on A&M the way a lot of people do with the dog and the things and the guns and the stuff is because everyone has like their own thing. Patrick, pull my list back up.
The midnight yell.
Yeah, and that is, I'm not gonna lie.
It's a little strange.
That's very strange.
We got to get our boy Parker Ream back in and see if he can do the midnight yell.
Literally, it's a lot. And then you also, if you saw the videos that just came out of orientation for like the incoming freshmen.
They have to learn it,
bro. And you're sitting there wondering like what is going on. But Kyle Field, in 2013, when they hosted Alabama, the Johnny Manziel game. The score was astronomical. Manziel running around the field. It was crazy. That was one of the most insane atmospheres I've ever been in. I was in the press box, and it literally felt, you could feel the side of the stadium shaking. To the point where I started to wonder, is this good with code? Like, can we actually all be in here? Are we breaking rules? Is this going to collapse? I'm unsure. I put Bryant Denny on here because we're in Alabama, so I put Bryant Denny on here. Like, no disrespect to Bryant Denny, but the truthfully, the stadium, the crowd is not really on top of you there, Bryant-Denny.
Yeah,
and that's one thing I feel like is like in the negative column for Bryant-Denny.
Yeah, and size-wise, it is huge. I mean, obviously they added to a few years back, but I had one rebuttal against Bryant-Denny. Nick Saban had to beg people to yell out there in that stadium.
And that was they were like a victim of their own success there a little bit. Yeah,
yes,
you're right.
They certainly were.
You're right. And my last one, Patrick, who I had on there, Dave's. Okay, yeah, and honestly, I don't really think this is hot take life, because if you have been to Mississippi State Stadium, and you have listened to those cowbells, one, you probably were drinking heavily and or getting some Advil at the end of the game, or both. Probably not supposed to mix those, but quite frankly, after a game there, you might need to. But I went there for the Auburn game. They lost that game a few years back. Gus Malzahn was the coach, and I think part of it was because the crowd. I mean, quite frankly, Auburn jumped off sides more times than I could count. And so,
I remember that.
Yeah, and Gus was wanting to throw his clipboard and scream NASCAR. So
and those cowbells were still ringing as you crossed that Mississippi State line back into Alabama.
No question, no question.
I'll hit mine here real quick. Number one, I do have Kyle Field. It's so tough that Texas A&M can't even win there. The 12th man, it goes against them too.
Funny. That's actually funny.
That's good.
Then number two, Bryant-Denny Stadium. I mean,
we'll revisit that when you go.
Oh, okay.
This is not a knock on Bryant-Denny. It's just Alabama's fans are so what's the word? Spoiled. And it's like, well, here I am for the social hour with my cute outfit and watching our team win, and I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna go across the street and I'm gonna go to the bars. I'm gonna hang out, and it's like they're in it, but they scored another touchdown.
But I'm pretty sure I saw something that Alabama has lost a single-digit amount of games at home
it's insane.
in a while. So, that definitely helps.
I saw that the other day, and it was like, I think since 2007, they've lost 9 games. Well, there was a person that was responsible for that. His name's Nick Saban. But and because he started ironically in 2007.
I mean, hey, going on the road in the SEC, it's not an easy thing to go and win games at all.
No, it's not, for sure. Who else you got?
Number 3, I guess Death Valley. I'm not gonna give it real or fake or that one. Neyland Stadium, number 4. I like Neyland. I want to go. That's definitely on my bucket list as a college football fan.
Even when the Alabama dominated Tennessee in a game that I went there in Neyland Stadium, it was really, really cool.
Yeah.
The fans are really, really into it. Win, lose, or draw, and now they're good. So I bet right now it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And a non-scientific poll, when I made that argument for Williams-Brice Stadium being number 3 because the decibel meter, they're number 3, but who's number 1? Tennessee. So really? I get that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The decibel's like 4 decibels off, but that's the loudest in America.
That's one of the best things about the SEC and why we even have this show is because of the passion of the fan bases, for sure.
And then Sanford Stadium, Georgia at 5.
I like it.
Just gotta round it out with Georgia.
I do think all I'm going to tell you is that you have we had the number 1 aligned. And you didn't even have him on the list. And I just want to let you know that I feel like when you go to Jordan-Hare for the first time, it's going to be an awakening. I went to a Georgia game at a night, and it was really, really cool at Sanford Stadium. So I like him on there.
Yeah.
I think you're missing Jordan-Hare Stadium. I really do. So I'm looking forward to it. Not that you need my approval, but you'll get experience yourself when the football season rolls around.
Yeah, I'm excited. I have to go to these places because, as I mentioned before, big old goose egg. I've never been to a single one.
But you've been to several games. So what's the best, out of curiosity, what's the best stadium that you have seen or best atmosphere you have seen?
Best atmosphere. I gotta go Penn State or Clemson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Penn State is crazy on TVs. I've never been there, but when you look at all the white and all the things they're doing.
I haven't gone to a whiteout game. That's definitely on a list.
That is I don't know how people play in those stadiums. That's crazy. That's intense.
That to me is reminiscent of what Death Valley brings. Like it just that sea of white, that sea of one color, it makes it seem, honestly unbelievable. But going back to the Jordan-Hare Stadium, like super fast, I think part of the reason that we have it on there, he doesn't, is because there is that unmistakable mystique that you need to be in the building to feel.
You do.
You can't, because you can't see it.
You can't see
you
it.
You can feel it, and he hasn't felt it.
And quite frankly, it's one of those stadiums, and not that this is like super scientific observation, but it looks impressive on TV. It doesn't compare, because here's the deal about Auburn. It doesn't matter if it's bright as day, which it is, when the band runs out, I get chills.
Yeah.
And I'm just talking about, we haven't even played a single snap of football, and I have chills thinking about it now. When the band runs out and you hear nothing but the drums, you're like, dang. And they have the best band in the SEC, and it is just, it is really special. Even if they haven't won a ton of ball games lately. So Hugh Freeze is certainly going to try to do that. We'll talk about Hugh Freeze here in a little bit. But coming up next on Southeast Sports Plus, we're going to chat with our girl Chessa Boucher, going to join the show. Last time we talked to her in Atlanta for SEC Media Days. So we will have that coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back in Southeast Sports Plus. Gerhard Simone joining you, and we are so pumped to head over to Baton Rouge, where we're going to check in with our girl, Chessa Boucher. Chessa, how are you? I love the neon, first of all. You look adorable. How's it going there in Baton Rouge?
It is good. How are y'all?
Doing
Living the life there on the coast?
Something like that.
Doing great.
Something like that, for sure. Fall camp underway. Of course, we're in week 2, if you can believe it. College football kickoff only 2 weeks away. How are the LSU Tigers looking?
They look good. They look really good. It's kind of crazy that we're, less than 2 weeks from the season opener. It's like, holy moly, we're almost here, y'all. You can feel it. You can taste it, all the things. I talked to you guys last week, and there was a huge uproar with Garrett Nussmeier. Everybody thought he was going to have his leg amputated because he had a little tweak, and so Tiger Nation went just absolutely insane. We did get an update on him. It is tendonitis in the patella. You see the brace there. It's kind of like an old man's sleeve. It's not anything serious.
I wore those. Old man's sleeve. I wore those when I played college basketball. Thank you very much, Chessa.
Well, we're both we're not the younger generation these days. You don't normally see a sleeve like that on a starting quarterback. So it's good news for Tiger fans, though. So they can breathe a sigh of relief. The world's not ending. The season's not over with. Garrett Nussmeier, expect big things from him. Hopefully this offensive line can keep him healthy. We'll see about that, though.
Yep.
How's Brian Kelly handled that whole situation? I know at the beginning of camp he seemed jovial. He seemed really loose and lighthearted over in Atlanta. I felt like he carried that into fall camp. Then that Nussmeier story came out, and he had to obviously be annoyed by just the noise around it. How the water's been since then? And then what are some of the ways that he has looked in practice, he being Garrett Nussmeier?
It was funny. He actually met. We weren't supposed to get Brian Kelly last Friday. It was Joe Sloan, the offensive coordinator, and Brian Kelly comes in and he's like, "I just want to give y'all an update. You want to hear it from the horse's mouth? I'll give it to you." And so he basically told us update. He said, on a scale from 1 to 10, the severity of this is just a 1.5. He was like, "I couldn't even tell you if it's the left leg or the right leg. Like, that's how non-serious it was." So I feel like he's still. Yeah, I feel like he's good. Garrett looked great. We've seen him in 3 practices since then. The only time that he kind of came up, not limping, but you could tell he pulled up on it. He actually made a play and extended the play with his leg, ran out of bounds. He was kind of slow to pull up and kind of, ginger with it. But aside from that, he doesn't look like it's really affecting him. He's still being the gunslinger that he is. He's been accurate. He looks the same, just like I said, with an old man sleeve, and I'll take that. If that's what it is, that's what it is.
Does in terms of the weapons around him, I know that we've talked a little bit about who Garrett Nussmeier is going to have. We're going to chat more about that here in just a moment. Chessa, also have something we want to kind of pull out top of the hour and kind of get your takes on too as well. Might be a little bit of a personal tie. So we'll have all of that and more coming up after the break. So Chessa, be right back. We'll be right back here on Southeast Sports Plus as well as we go back to Chessa in just a moment. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Outbound transmission?
Affirmative.
Crew ready?
Check.
Signal lock?
Check.
Downstream stations online?
Linked and locked.
Let's light this candle.
Flame on.
In 3, 2, roll show open.
In our neck of the woods, sports is tradition. Sports is passion. Sports is family. Sports is fun. Welcome to our house. This is Southeast Sports Plus Live with Simone Eli and Gerhard Mathangani.
Welcome back in Southeast Sports Plus. Gerhard and Simone joining you for our second hour, and it has been the first hour has flown by, as it often does here on this show. Joining you live from 2 to 4 every single day across Nexstar Nation, and that includes getting a chance to speak with many of the talented reporters across Nexstar Nation, including our good friend Chessa Boucher there in Baton Rouge. Chessa, before we dive back into LSU, you talked a little bit about Garrett Nussmeier being healthy, being good to go. Thumbs up there. However, what I really want to talk about is this right here. Big congratulations to our girl, Chessa Boucher, who is engaged. Look at this. Our girl, Chessa. You said yes, right? We went ahead and grabbed this from your Instagram and said, you know what? We need to give Chessa a big shout out here on Southeast Sports Plus. Give us the breakdown. Give us the play-by-play on how this went.
So, yes, I did say yes. I did black out for a little bit. So, Josie is my fiance. Yes. This is the first time I've said it on TV.
Wow.
Hey, there you go. Girl, listen, you're supposed to do that like right at the back. Like, hey, guys, this is going to lead our 6 o'clock sportscast.
I love it. No, he told me, he was like, yeah, we're going to go see Teddy Swims in New Orleans. And I was like, perfect. That's my favorite. It was a surprise. And so we parked, and he's like, let's go through Jackson Square to get drinks. And I was like, all right. And then he, like, does this whole spill, and I was like, oh, we're doing this, and I'm awkward, so I was like, what, and so I, like, pulled my hand back, and he's like, no, I'm gonna need that back, and then got on one knee, and then I blacked out, and then I was like, yes, just put it on my finger already, and so now we're engaged. And then he surprised me.
Girl!
Nice.
Wow, Josie!
Yeah.
Wow,
Hey,
Josie!
I know, that's weird.
Wow.
Josie did work. Okay, so I have a kind of a personal question, and we might get to LSU here in a little bit. All right, so on a surprise meter, I always find it interesting about the surprise meter, because obviously when you're in a relationship for a long time, you know that it's coming at some point. On just how surprised were you? Did he give any lead? Let me give you a football analogy. Did he tip his call? Did he tip his strike? Did he tip his pitch? Did he show you signal-wise at all? Did you see a receipt, a box, anything, or did he keep it under wraps?
So we've had the ring actually for a little bit over a year. We were going to get engaged last fall, and his daughter got diagnosed with cancer, and they had to be in Memphis at St. Jude. And so I was like, your daughter is number one. We'll figure it out when we figure it out. So they're back in April. And so we had already had the ring, but I was like, yeah, we'll get engaged in the fall. That's fine. And so to me, the fall is like September to December. So I was like,
when football begins. Yeah.
Yeah, like, so I was like, it's August. I'm sweating. We're not doing this now. This is not going to be a thing. And then he did it. And I was like, we did this. You're like really ready to go. Yes. Yep. And he was like, can we go to the courthouse now? I was like, bro, calm down. Let's be engaged and enjoy the engagement.
He's trying to lock that down, Chessa. He's like, listen, man.
Oh, he is.
He's trying to make it legal, trying to make it official. How's his daughter doing?
She's doing so much better. They are home. Her hair's growing out. She is healthy as can be. So it's been great.
I love that. Yep. What's her name?
Love it. Dylan.
All right. We'll keep Dylan in our prayers for sure. That's a great report there. Chessa, congratulations, first of all. You looked beautiful, as you always do. And so, great stuff. Congratulations. I'm looking forward to getting my invite, be it to the courthouse, be it to Bourbon Street, whatever it is that's going on there in Baton Rouge, and maybe go down to New Orleans, whatever. You just let me know when the party's at.
Oh, y'all are invited. Y'all already know how to party, so y'all are definitely going. Y'all are coming without a doubt.
She ain't lying.
It's not going to be in the fall either. I know better than
You know
that.
what?
So.
Amen.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man. You know what? Let's just talk about this for a second. Let's just do this thing for a second, okay? Because my sister back in 2023 decided that she was going to 24. Decided that she was going to get married on the third Saturday of October. And
oh wow!
I know. So,
not just any day in the fall.
No, but so Alabama's playing Tennessee,
yeah.
and so my husband's a high school football coach too, and I'm like, Athena, do you want us to come to this wedding? Because do you want me, I'm in it. My husband's at it. My son's supposed to be in it. I'm like, that's 2 out of the 3 of us are in the wedding. And we're in the middle of football season, so we ended up having to travel separately up there. And I'm like, okay, nobody's ever going to do this again. My brother's engaged. It's going to be in October of next year.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, what are we
What are we doing?
That's what you want to know why? Because they live above the Mason-Dixon, and they don't get it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
it just
why.
means more.
Okay.
They don't get it.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, listen, man, there's a reason that it's just closed off from about August to December, or it could be November for some folks who are fans of teams that don't go to the postseason. Speaking of the postseason, Brian Kelly, a guy who has been on the doorstep of success several times, and LSU seems to be right there. It seems like Brian Kelly, walking through SEC Media Days, had I'm not going to say silent swagger because he wasn't really silent. I mean, he had his normal kind of cadence about him, but it seemed as though he had some confidence. He says he likes this team. I think you and I talked about it on this show back when he debuted it there in Atlanta. Where do you feel like his confidence has either increased since we were in Atlanta? Has it changed? Is it unchanged? Is it still as high as it has been?
I think it's as high as it has been since he's taken over here at LSU. And I think the big reason is this talented roster from top to bottom. There's so much talent and depth. We have not seen that from the secondary. The secondary has been a joke the past 2 years. And so having depth at secondary, girl, I'm going to tell you like it is.
And
then the linebacking core.
Seriously.
They just have so many offensive weapons.
A whole joke.
It has been it was like the laughing stock. And then they couldn't stop a mobile quarterback. And we're like, what are we doing? Yep. And so I think Brian Kelly has that swagger, a different feel about this team. The biggest question mark is the offensive line, but you even have depth at the O-line. You just need this O-line to gel and figure out what 5 guys are going to be your starting 5. But aside from that, it's too talented. It's got depth, it's got experience, and it's got young talent. And I just think if people stay healthy, this is a team that's going to be contending to get in the college football playoffs without a doubt.
No question. You talked about just they were a joke. LSU's kind of DBU, by the way. You have Honey Badger, Patrick Peterson. Yep. I mean, like NFL stars galore there in that secondary. Let's talk about the guys that are challenging that secondary right now in practice. The pass catchers for Garrett Nussmeier, the receiving room, and that tight end room. I know they're really excited about what they're able to do in the passing game because of all those weapons.
Yeah, you have so many weapons. You have Chris Hilton, who's healthy. He's from Zachary, right outside of Baton Rouge. I covered him in high school. He can blow the top off of the defense. You have Baron Brown from Kentucky, who is just an absolute – he is so fast and has made some big-time grabs. Aaron Anderson, he is healthy. He's back ready to go. And then the tight end room, Trey'Dez Green. So he played at Zachary as well his senior year. He's a tight end, but he's an absolute red zone nightmare. He can go in the slot. You just can't stop him in the red zone. So for me, I'm like, this dude, just give him the ball. If y'all are in the red zone, throw it up, and he's going to go up the top over somebody and get it. Got great hands. He's actually put on 20 pounds. He was a dual sport athlete. He was playing basketball and football and was trying to stay lean for basketball. He's now finally put the shoes away and was like, I'm going to go be an NFL tight end. And he is just an absolute monster. So to me, I'm just like, if you're Joe Sloan, the offensive coordinator, you're like, who do I want to get the ball to? Because there's so many options for Garrett Nussmeier. So that's why I'm like, this offense is going to be rolling, and you actually have a real defense. They got something cooking here in Baton Rouge, guys.
It's more than jambalaya. So something this game against Clemson. We've had a lot of chat on the show, and I'm sure that it was talked about last week when I was out playing golf and not here. So I missed your appearance on the show last week playing golf. But the True Death Valley, I know that there's a little bit of talk about what the True Death Valley is. So I have a two-parter question. One, your take on what this atmosphere will be like at this game against Clemson, number one. And then number two, we were discussing earlier on the show just Tiger Stadium in general, it being different at night. As someone who covers this this school so closely. I've only seen Tiger Stadium really probably at night. I mean, because it's bigger games that I've gone to for Auburn and Alabama and things. It seems huge then. Is it diminished a little bit when it's in the day? And then what are your thoughts on the Clemson Death Valley as well?
I thought it was hilarious. I've never been to Clemson, so I'm not sure what to expect. I kind of made fun of Dabo Sweeney with his little run down the hill because I'm like, bruh, if you're doing that, you're doing the most.
Y'all have shared that. Hang on a second.
Chessa and I are the same person, I swear. She's just slightly more to the west than I am.
Y'all,
exactly.
Sincerely, I'm quoting Simone for a second. It's not the real Death Valley in Clemson. I don't care how fast Dabo runs down that hill.
That was literally what was said. I've honestly, you quoted it perfectly. Your memory is amazing. And you
just said it right there.
And honestly, Chessa, we are so aligned on that right there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's making up for something. So, if you got to do that, you're making up for something, my guy.
I'm waiting until the guy has he fallen?
He's
been there a good minute. I'm gonna Google this, but I agree. One, because his khakis look not cool when he's running down that hill. It's like, dude, with his khakis that are like unpleated or pleated or whatever it is that they're not supposed to be is what he wears. Number one, and then so that's Death Valley, and then also the actual Death Valley, the one that's there in Baton Rouge. Is it different if it's a noon kickoff as opposed to? And every stadium is different, but does it even have any prestige really if it's the middle of the day?
So I have to say, Dabo Sweeney looks like Forrest Gump when he's running with his khakis, and I'm like, bruh. But going back to the real Death Valley,
she can't get past that comment yet, guys. She's still.
There is a difference between a day game and a night game, and that's because the booze isn't flowing as hard. It's going to be flowing regardless, but at night you're walking out of the tunnel and it's like. You can smell it everywhere because they've been doing this since 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, so it's going to be a little different. But yeah, the night game, the mystique, the atmosphere, it gives me chills because you have the student section yelling stuff I can't say on TV, and it is a different environment. I've been to a lot of SEC stadiums, and that one just kind of top tier, one of the best, because it just doesn't get any more it's like magical. And now they're doing the light show, and then they even had the wristwatch thing, and it's going with Set It Off by Lil Boosie, and I'm just like, man, this is unreal.
That's
our song. That's our song, bro. That is our song. Listen, if we could play any music on this show, we would, but we cannot play Set It Off at all. That is not a public forum song.
It's not in the public domain.
Can we get the band to play it?
Can we get Lil Boosie in here to play? get the sheet music for it.
Yes, please. We'll see if the Jackson band can play that next week for our game there, hometown. Chessa, you're hilarious, number one. Based on search results, AI overview that Google gives you every time you search things says that Dabo has never fallen. So honestly, it would be great if that happened in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
I mean, because I would laugh.
If he does, I'm putting it all over Twitter. It is going viral.
It would be amazing, no question. Chessa Boucher, you're awesome. In terms of the prep for this game against Clemson, I know that your guy has done some uncanny things. Brian Kelly's done some things a little bit differently in preparing for this first game. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so all throughout the locker and the weight room, and the weight room, they have 1-0 with the Clemson, the symbol for Clemson. And then when we were at fall camp, yes. And then when we were in fall camp, they typically start inside in the indoor practice facility and go outside. They had the stadium, Clemson Stadium, up and had crowd noise and music. So I guess they're really going all in on this. Yeah. I don't blame them, though. I mean, you go 0-5 in season openers, you got to change it up. So Brian Kelly's like, no, we're going to hit it head on and we're going to do something about it. So I respect that. I like it. If I was LSU, I'd be pissed that I have to see that every single day walking into my building. Like, I got something to do and something to prove. So we'll see if it works.
That's awesome.
You are goated. That's all I have to say about
She's
that.
The best.
Chessa, I literally, you are 20 out of 10. 20 out of 10 every time. You can come, actually just come co-host this show. Just come co-host the show. Chessa Boucher, holding it down for us there in Baton Rouge. We appreciate your time, girl. Excited for your engagement. Cannot wait to see this season kicked off, and looking forward to either is Bama at LSU this year, or is it's in
Tuscaloosa, it's in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, it's in T-Town.
We'll see in T-Town. We'll see you in T-Town sometime.
Yay!
Cannot wait. All right, Jessica Boucher, great stuff here. Appreciate it. Joining Southeast Sports Plus. We will see you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
You're the best. Thank you.
Our girl, Jessica.
She's awesome. Just calls it like it is.
Honestly,
just calls it like it is.
And that's the energy that I need in my life. I feel like I have that energy, but she just brings it to another level. She's just different. It just means more.
There was 3 bullet points to that conversation that I thought were awesome. And her energy remained the same in all 3. It was roasting Dabo Sweeney.
That was number 1.
It was her engagement and how excited she was.
Also there. And how triggered she was about Les Miles going 0 for 5 in openers.
Yes.
And her excitement for all of them was exactly the same.
And that's what you want. That's what you want out of your local reporters. And this is everywhere.
This is so accurate.
That they're engaged. They love it. They love the program, and then they have the access because that crew does such a great job covering that program.
They really do.
And they
Sarah
talk.
Polcheski,
Brian Holland.
They do a really nice job there.
Absolutely.
A really good
They're
team.
A lot of fun.
And that's one of the great things that makes Southeast Sports Plus so special because all across Next Star Nation we have some of just the best folks and people covering their team. All right, guys, we have much more to come here on the show. Coming up next, at some point, we're going to chat with our friend Julian there in Nashville. Cannot wait to get his take on if Vanderbilt is still the hunted after he told us that. Very strong take last week. We'll have that after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back in Southeast Sports Plus. Patrick, Gerhard, Simone joining you, and very excited to welcome in our good friend of the show, Julian Minensone, all the way from Nashville. Last time we spoke to you, Julian, you were at home. It looks like you're in the office now because you have several suit jackets hung up, and that looks like every other sports office in America when it comes to local television.
Yeah, the suit jackets. You got, the random Titans memorabilia. There's Marcus Mariota right there.
I was trying to figure out why he's side. For some reason, that just messes with my brain. Him being to the side like that.
It's like a giant ticket.
I thought it was part of the door.
I thought it was a poster, and I was like,
too.
why would they hang that sideways?
Yeah, it's just a giant poster board ticket that was sent to us that season. There's a bunch of random stuff in here. Like Taylor Lewan's cleats are over there somewhere.
Oh, Nice. No, I literally thought it was like one of those things that was like pasted to the door, and the door opened up, and the open flaps there.
I thought maybe it didn't fit the other way, so y'all just decided to put it on the door sideways. I was like, okay.
But honestly, it's good that it's temporary because there's a new quarterback there in Nashville.
Yes,
and with
yes,
Cam Ward,
it's taken down
for
a reason. Yeah, we'll have a Cam Ward one soon.
Exactly.
So.
I love that. I love that. Julian, last we spoke, like I mentioned, we were talking about several things about what the kind of the transition for this Vanderbilt team right now. Last year was not only your first year covering the team, but when you started covering the team, they went on a run of success that started with the win over Alabama, and it really sparked this program to believe in something bigger, something that truly didn't exist for the Commodores prior to that game, and that is just a hope and a belief that they can be in the bowl, that they can have success long term. What is the possibility of what that looks like for this program going into another year as you're covering them? I was going to say another year, into their second year, but it's the second year being covered by you.
Yeah, the expectations are high, and they've said they want to win a national championship. Now, that may be them trying to hype themselves up a little bit, and I'm sure Diego, if you ask him, he certainly believes that they can. Whether that's realistic or not, I'm going to say that's kind of a long shot there given their schedule. I mean, they have the second toughest schedule in the entire country according to ESPN analytics, and we've in the country. And if you look at the schedule, I mean, it's an absolute gauntlet. You got Bama on the road, you got Texas on the road, South Carolina on the road. Even the non-conference schedule, they're not really a ton of gimmies with Virginia Tech there as well. So you're looking and you're asking yourself, well, if they're going to try to get to at least not just, playoff hopes, whatever, throw that aside, just a back-to-back bowl game appearance, where is that going to come from? Where are those wins? Where can they snag them? Sure. And there are a few games on that schedule that when I was looking at it, I said, okay, those are the ones you have to win because.
Let's go through this because I'd love to. So let's just
do
a little roundtable discussion here. Let's win lost me here. Both Gerhard, Patrick join in as well if you can, and Julian. So week 1, Charleston Southern.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know a ton about Charleston Southern, but that should be a win.
Okay.
Easy. Right.
Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
On the road in Blacksburg.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm going to be hesitant on that one.
Yeah.
Because that is going to be a tough place to play.
Let's see if they can pick up 5
Yeah, Virginia Tech will be 0-1 going into that game because they'll lose their season opener against South Carolina, so they'll get that win.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech wins.
Okay, speaking of South Carolina, that's who Vandy has week 3. Can they get it done there on the road in one of Gerhard's, what he said earlier on this show, is one of the hardest atmospheres in the SEC. I just think it's one of the most annoying atmospheres in the SEC because of that chicken. But can they get it done on the road?
I mean, I guess anything is possible, but if I'm a betting man, I'd say no on that one as well.
Loss. Okay.
I am a betting man, and South Carolina's going to not only win but cover.
That's why I love this guy. It really is. Okay. Georgia State. I think that's a win, guys. We feel good about
I think
that
the next 2 there are wins. Georgia State and Utah State.
That's 3 wins. Alabama.
No,
easy.
I could
LSU.
see that game being like 60-0 given what happened last season.
No. LSU. That's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. No, that's probably your most marquee home game, but probably no.
Yeah. Missouri. Let's give them that. Let's just give them that. Let's go with 4.
I like the Missouri game. I think that's the one that they need to steal there.
Yeah. Okay. Eli's gonna be a hot mess, but let's just go with 4. Vanderbilt. Let's go with loss. Auburn.
Yeah, I think Auburn and Kentucky. I think both of those are yeses at home. I know.
There.
Yeah, and those are the 2 you need to win to get to that 6, given what we've kind of predicted, right?
It is. Auburn at Vandy.
That's a toss-up game because if Auburn is having a bad season, then that's a loss for Auburn. That's a win for Vandy. If Auburn is having a good season, Vandy will lose that game by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and truly, you won't know until you know with the Auburn Tigers.
Right.
You really won't know, and we'll talk more about what's going on over there.
And I think they beat Kentucky.
Yeah, and I think I think Kentucky's going to hurt this year. I think it's probably going to be it for Marks too. So I agree. I think the Auburn game's going to matter a lot. Obviously, the schedule goes that way, and we'll see. Everything can happen in the SEC. But regardless, if we're having a conversation right now about Vanderbilt going to a bowl, that's a positive trajectory and a good thing for the Vanderbilt Commodores. What is the just the energy like when at practice, for at least for the parts of it that you're allowed to see? What is it like in that building? What's the feel that you get from these players and these coaches when you guys have the media availabilities?
Oh, I mean, I think you guys kind of saw it in SEC Media Day. There was a little bit of an extra swagger, an extra dip on the chip, I guess you would like to say. And it all starts with Diego Pavia,
dip on
right?
the chip. I was thinking dip like a dip in your mouth. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, but it starts with Diego Pavia. I mean, not only is the offense and everything about this team predicated on what he does, but also the way he carries himself off the field, right? He's not afraid to tell you that they're going to win a national championship, that they could beat anybody in the country. I mean, I'm sure we all saw the Netflix, the SEC series there on Netflix with some of the remarks he's had about how confident he is in his abilities and what he can do for this program that hasn't had success in quite a while. So, yeah, there is an energy, there is a buzz, but also with the expectations. You talked about it. You kind of poked fun of me at the tease with the Hunter and Hunted thing, but I will say, I heard that, Simone.
Julian, that is all in very good love, just so you know.
Right.
That is all in good love.
I get it, but what I'll say about that is they're not going to sneak up on anybody this year. They are going to have a target on your back, and you're either praying or the preyed, and they are going to be preyed on this year because Alabama remembers what happened. Auburn remembers what happened. The teams that they beat last year who they shouldn't have remember what happened. So that is going to, I guess, determine how obviously far they go with the bowl game and postseason opportunities, but there is certainly an excitement around this program that there hasn't been in quite some time.
The praying or the prayed? And for a long time, Vanderbilt was praying like this, like praying to God.
They can get
a
away.
Win. When you said praying, I was like, you know what? They weird that. And then I realized as you were talking, that's not what you meant.
It's a nice play on words.
Absolutely, that's what you meant.
So good double on time. Well, despite that tough schedule, they do have some marquee talent on this football team, including probably the best tight end in the entire country there in Eli Stowers. What are him, Pavia, the offense overall, what do they look like in their development through fall camp so far?
Yeah, Eli Stowers, he's a first-round tight end talent, right? He led the team in receiving yards, catches, touchdowns last year, and he's going to be huge because last season this team didn't have a receiver hit 30 catches other than him, and that's horrible. Like, you can't have that happen, especially with a quarterback like Diego Pavia. So he's going to be huge, and not just for his own personal stats trying to get to the league or whatever, but he is going to be huge from a standpoint of explosive plays. Vanderbilt did not get enough of those last year. And if the number one priority in your team is to keep Diego Pavia healthy, you're going to need a guy like Eli Stowers to have some big chunk yardage plays. That way you're not in 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and you're relying on Diego to throw his body around and potentially get hurt, and then he's out for a game or something. That is going to be huge. So it's all a trickle-down effect for this Vanderbilt team, and that's what the offense is kind of working through right now. Stowers is one of those guys where I don't know if you guys played high school sports, and obviously you guys have covered high school. You remember the kids in high school who were like the D1 athletes, and scouts would come and you'd be like, they'd be like, oh, who's the D1 athlete here? Oh, it's that person because they're bigger, stronger, faster than everybody else. You could just tell. Yes, that's what it's like when you go to practice with Eli Stowers. 6'4", 260 plus. He seems to just float out there, and so you could see the first-round talent there. He's going to have to play like it this year if Vanderbilt is going to want to have postseason opportunities.
Yeah, for girls basketball, just so you know, it was always the girls that were wearing black socks.
Black
if you
socks.
were wearing black socks,
demon time.
You knew that was like they're going to be really good.
Was that your thing? Was the black socks?
I mean, I'm wearing black. First of all, right now I'm wearing black socks with black Nikes right now with dress clothes, and so. Once a D1 athlete, always D1 athlete. But I wasn't even saying that because of that reason, but when you walk into a gym, that's what you could tell.
Oh, Julian alluded to it. Eli Stowers walking onto a gridiron. Simone Eli, you walk into a basketball gym out there just chucking three-pointers.
You were pretty good at that yourself there, Chief. I was a very modest of the two people on the show right now.
I was on a very, very talented team. But no, I think, and Julian, you hit on a really good point there about his size and just the fact that he jumps off the field, so to speak, as far as just his overall talent level. We got a chance to hear from Diego Pavia. He talks a lot of trash, but he also talks really, really highly about his main tight end. Our guy Julian got a chance to catch up with him.
I think if he would have went last year to the draft, he would have been the first tight end taken off the board if you go look at film. I think, he's 6'4", 240, and I just think he just needs a go to pro day, and people will see what he got, and he jumps 43-inch vertical, and that kid's too talented, too smart. He used to play quarterback, so it's just easy pickings with him.
We have some technical issues there. Let's try to rerun that, Patrick. We had some technical issues off the top of that audio there from Diego Pavia. Let's see if we can hear that one again.
I think if he would have went last year to the draft, he would have been the first tight end taken off the board if you go look at film. I think, he's 6'4", 240, and I just think he just needs to go to pro day, and people will see what he got, and he jumps 43-inch vertical, and that kid's too talented, too smart. He used to play quarterback, so it's just easy pickings with him.
Last year, Julian, or 2 years ago, I should say, wow, his time has flown by. Georgia had a tight end, Brock Bowers, probably one of the best tight ends that I've seen in college football.
That was like last year.
Yeah, no, he had an incredible season there in the NFL. Do you see any kind of reminiscence there of just a guy that's a tight end? Because you don't really see that a lot from this position. Maybe like Rob Gronkowski and Travis Kelce on the professional level, as a guy that could be a game breaker for them, and then maybe slip up and win one of those games that you talked about earlier that they maybe shouldn't have won.
Yeah, he could be the mismatch nightmare for a team in a close game like a Kentucky or an Auburn when they really need to have that big-time guy show up. One thing about Eli Sowers, I don't know if you know this, but he used to play quarterback. He was a quarterback, when he first joined Texas A&M, and then he switched over to tight end when he connected with Pavia at New Mexico State. So not only is he a tight end and got those skills and obviously the sheer size, 44-inch vertical, all that stuff, but he thinks like the other smartest position out there on offense. And so it's like having two quarterbacks out there. If you're Vanderbilt, that's double the trouble for another team.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point to make. When you know what the other positions are doing, what they're thinking, as a quarterback has to do, it's always really, really helpful. Similar to a point guard, when you know what everyone is doing on the field.
Yep.
You pretty often put yourself in a position to have success yourself. What does the next couple weeks look like there in terms of fall camp practice? Obviously continues, but at some point Vanderbilt will start to shift into game mode and preparing for week 1. What does the next week or so look like in terms of the practice schedule and media availabilities, Julian?
Yeah, so they had their first fall camp scrimmage this past Saturday. The unfortunate thing is they had some guys out, not to anything serious, mostly soft tissue stuff. It's kind of stuff you get early parts of camp. So the number one thing right now is get those guys healthy because they need to get further along with their first and second team offensive guys. So they'll have other scrimmages. They'll continue to practice. And then, Charleston Southern's been on the brain since SEC Media Day. It hasn't been the biggest form of, focus for this team, and it's not game prep quite yet, but that's going to be slowly a transition to get ready for that first game and see if they can continue some of the momentum they had from last year, because that first game, though it's Charleston Southern, is important when you're thinking about a fan base that has hype, a team that wants to continue success after a bowl game, and also recruiting for next year. You want to strike while the iron is still hot, so to speak.
Yeah, really good points there, Julian. A question, what is the latest on the stadium construction there? Because I remember last year there were images. I had not been up there, and actually I've never been to Vanderbilt Stadium, but there were pictures that came out, and everyone's like, this is what Vanderbilt Stadium looks like right now. And I just did a quick Google search. It looks like this $300 million project might still be having the finishing touches on it. I mean, what the heck?
Yeah. So the idea is that it's mostly going to be complete in that end zone by week 1 against Charleston Southern. There might be some touches up here and there, but the idea is that they're hoping it's going to be mostly complete by the start of the season. And it's a huge recruiting tool for this team, right? You want to you're not only in Nashville, which is, I'm sure a college kid would love to live in Nashville, but you're going to be playing at a state-of-the-art, venue. Coach Lee had talked about remembering when they had to practice at places like Lipscomb, smaller schools, just to get practices in because they couldn't because their stadium was undergoing all that construction. So the hope is that it's at least mostly then. I'll tell you, as a media member, it is tough to cover games there because of the construction. You guys know how it goes. You have you're shooting your stuff. You run down one sideline, you run down to another. During the construction, we had to go underneath the bleachers and around, basically outside of the stadium to get to the other side, which is, cardio for the old sports guy. So, hopefully it's all fixed by that first game there.
That was at like the Final Four practice at the NCAA tournament. We weren't allowed to go down the sideline. We had to go up into the stands and around And I'm like, guys.
Oh, so you had to go up and
yeah,
and down.
You can't shoot the games anyway, so it's not like you're
well,
shooting games
that's where the black
ridiculous.
shoes and the black socks come in handy,
Honestly,
right?
And if I wasn't live on a program right now, I would literally put my foot up in the air and I would show you. But I have more class than that, right? I guess so to speak. Gee, I knew you want to mention something.
Absolutely, yeah. I wanted to ask about Clark Lee. You got a chance to talk to him a couple times here during fall camp. This is, to me, a coach that he just feels. While Diego Pavia might be really, really loud and boisterous, shows his he's not obnoxious might be too strong of a word, but he's very on top of things from a personality standpoint. Clark Lee to me seems like the gravity that just holds everything down there, and nothing is really too big. Even when they beat Alabama and Auburn for the first time in 50-something years, what has his demeanor been like during fall camp, given the success they had last year, knowing that hard schedule as you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, I think he and Pavia, they're the perfect yin and yang to each other, right? You need somebody like Pavia to energize a program like Vanderbilt, but then you need the guy like Clark Lee to bring him down to earth and realize expectation, kind of to know where your feet are. Look, Clark went to Vanderbilt. He knows what it's like to win here, how special it is to win in a place like Nashville. So he understands the importance of this upcoming season. One big thing, a change on the coaching side, he promoted Steve Gregory, who was already on the staff last year, to his defensive coordinator this year. So Gregory will be calling most of the defensive play calls. And it was something they tested out at the end of last year, but this gives Clark the opportunity to kind of have hands in more other parts of the game, the special teams, the offense, and so he doesn't have to worry about the defensive side as much now. That's still his baby. He's a defensive coach. He came from Notre Dame. Obviously, that's what he loves to do, but it gives another coach an opportunity to call plays, but also Clark a little bit easier time to kind of balance his efforts and around the team, which should hopefully end up in some success for Vanderbilt as they try to not rebound, but continue to rebuild this program off of last season.
Julian Minenson, appreciate your time, man. I'm just going to tell you, you talk ball in the SEC like you've been covering it for way more than what, a year now? And just almost a year. So, man, we appreciate your input. Very, very, very impressive and well done. I know that there's a lot of high expectations and high hopes, I should say, there in Vanderbilt. So looking forward to plenty of great coverage from you as we move forward to the start of the season.
Oh, guys, thanks. Anytime.
Cool. Julian, appreciate it. And his sideways poster that I thought that was quarterback this no longer Tennessee. It's all good. All right, good stuff here. Southeast Sports Plus. We'll have plenty more coming ahead after the break. Patrick Walsh going to join the show as we break down the hot topics. That's coming up next. Stay with us. Welcome back in Southeast Sports Plus. Patrick Gerhard-Simone joining you from Mobile, Alabama, as we're talking all things Southeastern Conference football. Is kind of leading the charge right now for a good reason. Obviously, we're about halfway through fall camp, and that means we're almost halfway home to the start of the college football season. Gerhard, it'll be here before we know it.
Week 1 games, we mentioned them earlier, just how important those games are. We talked with Chessa because LSU's got a big one. One of the top 10, in my opinion, I think maybe a top 3 matchup in week 1 of the college football season, and will go a long way to determining which one of those teams has the leg up at least in making the college football playoff.
It's crazy to think that we have no idea which one of the two. Because there was a time where there was an expectation that top 10 rankings kind of meant something. Not to say that the rankings preseason doesn't mean something. I think there's a good place for it. It meant something in terms of it was a good projection of what might happen later in the season. Right. And now I feel like you could be unranked and go be a playoff team because of the amount of parity in sports.
Right, and we saw that with Arizona State last year. They were picked dead last in their own conference. Ended up winning the conference,
and their head coach
and they go into the college football playoff, and then obviously they go crazy over there at Arizona State. But no, you're right. A lot of these week 1 matchups are really, really interesting to me for a lot of different reasons, especially those marquee ones coming up here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and one that I'm looking forward to, I know that everyone here on the show is looking forward to because we've talked about it several times already, is when Auburn goes to Waco to play Baylor on August 29th. That's a Friday for those that don't have a schedule in front of them right now. That is a Friday night. It is week 2 of the Alabama high school football season. It is week 1 of the Texas high school football season. And so that will be kind of one of the only show, not only in town, but in college football when it comes to a high caliber game or any game. I'm sure there's maybe a couple of other games throughout the country. But Auburn at Baylor, will they be ready? Both teams, I can just guarantee you, feel as though what a huge opportunity this is to start the season in a strong way. And really, I hate using this phrase, set the tone, because it's so cliche.
Right.
But I truly think when it comes to the two fan bases, definitely Auburn, and I feel like Baylor has a similar way, is like that is going to set the tone for everyone in the program, outside of the program, as to how it's going to go the rest of the year.
Yeah, and I think especially for Baylor, because Baylor is one of those teams, they ended off the season on a really I say strong note. They won, I think, 5 or 6 games to end the year. They lost to LSU in the bowl game. So they are thinking, hey,
that feels like 100 years ago.
I know. They're thinking if we can go in and at least play the way we were playing in November. I think they won 5 straight games. I had to pull it up just to make sure. They won like 6 straight games to end the season. Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, TCU, West Virginia, Houston. Now, these weren't barn burner programs, but they got some momentum going into the end of the year. So they have to feel good. And then Auburn's in a prove-it year. Hey, we're out here to prove it to everybody. And what a way to go on the road. And as you said, there's a handful of games on Friday night. There is no doubt what the marquee game Friday night nationally will be. So we'll have a taste of games on Thursday, and then ramping up for the games on Saturday. If Auburn can get a big win in Waco there on Friday, I think that not only psychologically, but also with the way the pollsters look at the polls, the way that Baylor looks at themselves, the way that Dave Aranda and that program sees themselves moving forward, and Hugh Freeze and those guys, I think it's huge for them, and also big for the SEC to be able to get another big win over P4.
Yeah, naturally, of course. And these are 2 big brands. Patrick, when you think about just what Auburn, Baylor, I mean, I know that there's different levels of success that they have had, and at times more than what maybe both fan bases have wanted. At the end of the day, it's Auburn and it's Baylor. This is not like just, these are not nobody type schools here.
Right.
These are brands that are well known. Not every P4 is as well known as Auburn and Baylor, is my point.
Yeah, and I think that these are 2 programs, especially with Baylor, because you remember with Baylor when they had Art Briles for a while, they were in contention every year. They were in contention to win the Big 12 over teams like Texas. There were teams like Texas Tech, and Baylor was right there in that mix. Dave Aranda is a defensive coach, so you're not really seeing those blowout wins, 60 points, 70 points, that show that we used to see back in the day with his football team. So with Dave Aranda being a defensive guy, and then with Hugh Freeze and company being more offensive led, and they want to be led by
that in a minute.
We want to be led by
I don't know who's
Jackson
leading the offense, but it's being led.
That came into question this week. But with Jackson Arnold company, I just think it's such a good test. And Jackson Arnold coming from Oklahoma, a school that used to be in the Big 12, some familiarity there. I know he doesn't have familiarity with Baylor, but that program does. I just think that they're in a really good spot right now. Auburn is to make a marquee victory when a lot of eyes of America and the college football world will be watching.
And I think these are two programs that honestly are exactly alike each other. Two programs that are trying to get back to their former selves. You know, they've kind of been in slumps. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Auburn's been in a slump. Baylor is trying to get out of the slump. I mean, just a handful of years ago, Baylor used to be like that team.
And I do think that the temperature is very different. Like both teams are in a win-lose column. You're absolutely right, Patrick. It is very similar in that they're although Baylor obviously actually saw the postseason and Auburn was on the outside looking in. But every year, Auburn fans, having covered them for as long as I have, and Gerhard, you can attest to this, there's a hope and there is a thought that they can go win a national championship. Not an SEC championship.
Right.
A national championship. Every single year. Auburn fans, I'm married to one, and I live around a lot of them. And I'm telling you right now, every year they feel like they're going to win a national championship. The only other person I can relate that to is my father, who's a Notre Dame fan, and he has been waiting, and he might keep waiting.
That's the beauty of college sports, though, because you have that internal hopefulness. But I think for Auburn, it's not blind.
No, it's different. It's different, dog.
It's not. Well, for me, for Auburn, it's not blind hopefulness because if you look at the recruiting rankings over the last 3 years, they've recruited well. And they
so maybe
think they've got a top
because they
7
haven't
quarterback.
maybe because they haven't recruited well, it'll go well. Maybe that is the recipe.
Well, the key for Auburn,
less,
if you talk to any Auburn fan, they always say, the years that we have expectations, you put us in the top 15, we're winning 4 games. That's what Auburn fans will say. The years that Auburn's outside of the top 25 poll and nobody's thinking about them, that's what happened to Cam Newton, Nick Fairley year. And that's what happened to the 2004 year when they got left out of the college football playoff, the BCS championship. Those years they were left out of the top 25 initially and moved their way in.
The Cam year was a Cam year.
The Cam year was the Cam year.
Let's just put that up for what it was. 13, they won it. And that took some stuff from Jesus Christ himself that I'm not sure has ever happened in college athletics and will never happen again.
The ghosts. And as we've heard before, they understand that there's a certain mystique there. But did some of that get popped last year? They started off 5 straight home games last year. They won 2 of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like.
And I think going into the year, we thought if Auburn won 3, it was a good sign because I can't remember exactly who the opponents were in those first 5 games, but I recall the feeling there in the discussion that you and I had, which was like, you get 3 out of 5, you're probably in a decent spot.
Right.
They got 2. You had the success there with Texas A&M. The Iron Bowl is always the Iron Bowl. That is what it is. So what does a 2025 year for Hugh Freeze look like? What does it come with? Well, the last thing that you want, if you are Hugh Freeze or an Auburn fan, is to have questions about the offense. Because Lord Almighty, all Auburn has had for the last decade plus is questions about the offense. And here we are with questions about not only the offense, but who is calling the offense, G.
Yeah, this all started on Monday for the uninitiated. It started with Derek Nix, who is the offensive coordinator and the running backs coach. And I'll just give you verbatim what he said and the kind of confusion that ensued after that. I'm just going to read exactly what he said word for word. He says, I try to do a good job on 1st and 10 drive starters. Kent, being Kent Austin, their quarterback's coach, does our 3rd downs. Head coach has the authority to overrule anything we say or do. Of course, that causes confusion because most offensive coordinators, you call 1st down, 2nd down, and 3rd down. Made it sound like there's going to be a different guy in that. Remember, it's the green dot. It's the communication with the quarterback. It made it sound like there's going to be a different guy in that headset down to down. Now,
whether it's a different voice or not, even if it's the same person saying it, if a different person is calling each play, because all you hear about is you getting into a rhythm, right? Not only offenses, but the offensive play callers too. And you have to go back to, now, the next offense that I call will be the first. All right, I'm going to say that right now. But I'm just going to tell you something about consistency. Okay, I can speak to consistency. I can't speak to talking about, calling SEC offenses. But I'm telling you right now, if you have it in the back of your mind that in the second quarter when you were facing, 3rd and 4.
Right.
And you tried to run up the right side, that the Mike linebacker was cheating there. And then, that you're going to go back into that. And it doesn't matter if it's 2nd and 3,
Right.
Is Hugh Freeze, because he's calling the 2nd down, and Kent, who was calling 3rd down, they going to compare notes and be like, hey, man, I have had the same down distance or similar down distance, whatever. So do this. How's that work? Because, by the way, you only get about, 30 seconds to get the play going?
I was going to say, I mean, is there any room to have that much conversation in between them? So that's where that's where the conversation started as far as just the overall confusion about what Auburn's doing going into the year. So then
Hugh Freeze did some clearing up. Let me before we go into that, let me just say this. I talked to a good friend of the show, Cole Kublick, with SEC Network, played offensive lineman at Auburn. And I talked to him this afternoon, and I said, what is going on? Who is calling the offense in Auburn? And he laughed because it was also a big topic on his show. And he said, so Derek Nix, so this is well publicized, Derek Nix, contractually, the only way he would not have to pay his buyout was if he left to have full-time play calling duties.
Correct.
So out of an abundance of caution and not getting sued by the Rebels, he said, hey, yeah, I'm calling the shots over here. Well, everyone knows Hugh Freeze is calling the offense.
Right.
I mean, I don't care if you throw Ken in there and make Kent feel good. I don't care if Derek's getting an apple. Hugh Freeze is calling the offense, y'all.
Well, and it's similar. Keep in mind, Auburn fans will remember this. It's similar to when Gus Malzahn handed over the play calling duties a few years back, and then it kind of spiraled out of that, and that's the reason why he's
spiraled
no longer
out of control, or spiraled what?
Well, the offense spiraled, and then he spiraled out of control, and then the board of trustees was like, hey, you know what? Let's find a new head coach.
Well, that's always out of control.
So Auburn's dealt with this before. It's just usually not preseason. It's usually in the middle of the year.
And this is what Cole said. Cole said, guys, when they ask, just say Derek's calling shots. Don't say anything. When the media asks, because that's what the media does. We ask questions to get responses that are going to go be a headline that can be clicked or be a topic we can discuss on this show. Cole said, say Derek is calling the offense and quit talking.
Right.
Because everything that you say beyond that becomes armchair quarterbacks and then parts of this show.
Yeah, and literally right before our show started, Hugh Freeze met with the media and did try to clarify that Derek Nix is the offensive coordinator, is the guy. But as
there
you
was
said,
a lot of and I mean, we love Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
The show loves Hugh Freeze.
Absolutely.
He's a good friend.
100%.
We helped him pick out his outfit at media
100%.
days. All I'm saying is that he, by doing that, by clarifying, he also had a bunch of caveats. But I can still do this, and they can do this, and this guy can do this.
Right.
They haven't put this. TBD, guys.
So,
August 29th.
But then what I love is the troll in charge of the SEC, Lane Kiffin. He just had
He
just had to stick.
Patrick, I forgot about this. Patrick, what is this here? What do we got right
all
here
right,
from Lane?
So yes, if you can't see it, Lane. This is all right. So John Tweet Sports said, if I'm following at Auburn, Derek Nix calls plays on first down. Hugh Freeze calls plays on second down. Kent Austin calls plays on third down. Hugh Freeze can overrule everybody. So then Lane Kiffin comes over the top rope, as he always does, and says, so does a fourth down coach call fourth downs at Auburn football? As always.
Lane Kiffin cannot.
He can't help
himself. And honestly, he's not wrong because who's calling the plays on fourth down? And Auburn might face a lot of those, by the way. It's called punt. All right, guys. Patrick said, this segment would go long, and it did because he's not wrong. He knows how it gets when I get hurt. I start talking about the Auburn Tigers. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here on Southeast Sports Plus. Stay with us. Welcome back in Southeast Sports Plus. Patrick Simone, Gerhard joining you. Gerhard says there's breaking news from the AP.
Yeah, just moments ago, the AP adding into some of the fodder and some of the college football hype and the college football talk. They put out an all-time All-American team of all-time in college football history, their college careers. We will dive into this tomorrow, I know. But
give us a quick rundown of what we got. It's
all right,
too much of a tease for 24 hours.
So guess your quarterback.
Oh, I don't even know where to begin. Tell me.
Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow's a quarterback. Some notable guys, wide receivers, Randy Moss and Larry Fitzgerald. The guards and centers, one of the guards is from Alabama, John Hanna. Running backs, Barry Sanders, Herschel Walker. The kicker, Sebastian Janikowski. On the first-time all-time defense, the corner, how can you not go with Deion Sanders? Charles Woodson is another one. Nice. Ronnie Lott, for those who are a little bit older. And Ndamukong Suh, Derek Buckus, Derek Thomas, rest in peace, played at Alabama for a long time. One of the linebackers on there as well. But this is a fascinating article that just came out moments ago.
That's amazing. We will recap all of that tomorrow here on Southeast Sports Plus. Been a great 2 hours. Looking forward to joining you from 2 to 4 tomorrow. For Patrick Gerhard, I'm Simone, and we will see you at 2 o'clock. Have a good day.